Inventions Through Time, in Rhyme, by Hepzibah Flurge. These ancient tools make work easier. Let's look around the world and back through time, at the history of inventions, and tell it in a rhyme. Inventions can be tools that humans make, and it's surprising how long the work may take. Making tools and inventing began long, long ago, just as people in society began to grow. The first people's hard work is worthy of praise. Their ideas and tools help them day after day. They started inventing and making many tools: clubs, knives, cave paintings, and even rock stools. Henry Ford with his first car, on the right, and his 10 millionth car. Gradually the world and societies grew. Soon it was so big that nobody knew how many tools and inventions there were. Nobody has counted, so nobody is sure. Millions and millions from that day to this, so many inventions we didn't want you to miss. The most important ones from the ancients to now, you will learn where, when, why, who, and how. The inventors invented and what they discovered, and all the new things that they uncovered. From writing to computers, from food to space, from Asia, Africa, and all over the place, you'll learn about inventions both big and small. We hope you enjoy and remember them all. The Sumerians invented the wheel. An early great ancient civilization, historians tell, was the Sumerian, that gave us two things known so well. The Sumerians lived in the Middle East, about 6,000 years ago at least. They probably designed and invented the wheel, the greatest invention many people feel. The wheel made pulling and dragging very quick. The first wheel started out big and thick. They must have been for work and not for play. They were made of stone or hard-baked clay. The second invention the Sumerians gave was writing, not just pictures on a cave. A symbol could be spelled out as a word, a greater invention nobody has heard. Without it, we wouldn't know the past, or any of the stories our world has amassed. The Sumerians gave us smaller inventions too. They helped develop farming as they grew, food for their families and food to save, a small invention, perhaps, but it gave people the chance to settle down. They no longer had to roam around, looking for food to hunt or find. They could spend time improving their minds. That is why historians feel they were able to write and make the wheel. The Sumerians gave us quite a lot, perhaps more than you knew or thought. This clay tablet shows the Sumerian writing system. Ancient Greeks found new ways to build buildings, such as using arches. 3,000 or 4,000 years ago, the ancient Greeks came to show many new tools in engineering and art, architecture, literature, and sport for a start. The ancient civilization of the Greeks took science, culture, and law to new peaks. They started the Olympics and wrote theater plays, and learned to build buildings in many new ways. They gave us drama and new kinds of sports. We use their ideas in governments and courts, juries and judges, evidence and crime. All these we still use in our day and time. But Greeks weren't the only ones making great things. China was inventing ink, kites, and silk strings. Many, many years ago, the Chinese began to show the world how to make paper and ink. Really important inventions, we think. Although the Sumerians were first to write, they did it on stones, which weren't too light. They were heavy and hard to keep. The Chinese gave writing a great leap. They invented paper made from rice, which made writing light, neat, and nice. The Chinese made this cloth out of silk. Next came kites, such beautiful toys. Now all over the world, girls and boys, fly kites that dance in the sun. A game that is now just for fun. Some people have other uses for kites. For example, they use them in religious rites. Chinese chemists had inventive minds. They invented powders of many kinds. One powder made fireworks burst for fun. Its flashes of light are like stars or the sun. Other people also had creative moods. In the Americas, they created new foods. The Olmec Indians of Old Mexico made chocolate from the seed called cocoa. Compared to the chocolate that we now eat, the cocoa of the Olmecs wasn't very sweet. They didn't have sugar to give it some zest, so they mixed it with honey that made it taste best. Thanks to the Olmecs, we have a delicious sweet. Chocolate in candy bars or in drinks is a treat. One of Leonardo da Vinci's plans for a flying machine. The first airplane by the Wright brothers. Now let's take a trip through more recent times gone by to discover how humans learned how to fly. Leonardo da Vinci, artist and inventor, in 1485, drew hundreds of sketches of machines that might fly. He didn't build them, but his ideas were smart. Modern inventors considered them works of art. He had some ideas that people would reproduce many years later to put planes into use. Finally, on December 17, 1903, two young brothers made history. Wilbur and Orville Wright became inventors of flight. They devised a working propeller airplane, and the world has never been the same. Ford Assembly Line. The automobile or the car has a history that goes back far. First in 1900, Eli Olds developed the assembly line. This process used many workers to shorten the time it took to put machines together. Now machines could be made faster and better. Then Henry T. Ford improved the line, making cars in a few hours just fine. With the assembly line also came the power to turn out more products every hour. This made things much quicker and cheap. Now more people can have things to keep. Demand for more things started to grow. Devices popped up all over, and so we have washing machines, dryers, TVs, dishwashers, computers, and CDs. These were invented using ideas both old and new. Maybe someday you will invent something too. Talk about it. 1. What are some inventions of the ancient civilizations? 2. How do those inventions still help us today? Write about it. 3. Make a chart on a separate sheet of paper and list how some of the inventions mentioned in this book have changed the world for you and your community. Extend language. When you read this book, you can learn that many sounds in English have more than one spelling. Sweet and treat have the same vowel sound, but they are spelled differently. The vowel sounds of EE and EA are alike. Look back at page 12. How many different spellings of the same long E sound can you find?